Mm, posting, under posting profile, item group posting profile. All these three parts is interrelated. Okay, so let's understand how system work. What is the ledger posting profile? What is the vendor group posting profile and item group posting profile? Okay. First of all, you understand the transaction. Okay. What we do, we raise a PO, like when we say P2P cycle, P2P cycle. What it covers? In high level, it covers purchase order, PO.
Yeah.
Then you receive the material, receipt,
Purchase requisition, purchase order, receipt, invoice, payment.
invoice, and then payment. Correct. These are the high level P2P cycle. There could be PR in case of and then requisition and all and all. Okay. But let's start with the PO. Now you want to raise a PO. What will be needed? What you will in case of PO? What you needed?
PO items.
One PO item means item. What does item need? Item needs the storage
Quant
dimension.
yeah.
Then that will be there. Then quantity
Quantity cost.
and then rate per unit. Okay. This you needed at the time of PO. When you receipt, what will be needed? Your from whom you give. Here also you need one part. This is also you need vendor.
Yeah. Vendor
Okay.
details. Yeah.
This is the two parts we needed in the while creating the purchase order, right?
Yeah.
Now directly I am coming to the invoice. Receipt will do later. Receipt and then invoice. Okay, you understand that receipt is done, then invoice. Now, whenever you say your receipt and invoice is happening, you have to post those transactions into the ledger. Okay, so there should be a financial posting now. So at the time of receipt system, what will system there? Item in. Okay, vendor credit. So here in means I can say debit. This is the financial concept, vendor credit. In general, what will happen at the time of receipt? Item will be in, right? Item we are purchasing, so item is going receipt and vendor is crediting, so that you will know that okay, I have to pay money to vendor. Same thing in the invoice also. Same thing happened. Item in, okay, that is also debit, vendor credit. Now, only difference here in both the receipt and invoicing is that this is the temporary ledger. In this case, it is a ledger. In this case, actual ledgers. This is the difference between receipt and invoicing. Now, when we say posting, so this will be linked to the inventory ledgers. This is the payable ledgers. Payable. थोड़ा फाइनेंस है इसमें, liability, and then this is the so this is the asset. Same thing here. Only thing is these ये temporary ledgers रहते हैं और ये per month fix actual ledgers रहते हैं. They are also same. Actual ledgers, the ledger asset, and then this is liability. Okay. While posting, how system will know that now this is the asset ledger, this is liability ledger, this is asset, this is liability. So all these things will be depend on the inventory posting profile and vendor posting profile. So this part will be posted by inventory posting profile, and this part will be posted by vendor posting profile, but not at the time of receipt. At the time of invoice it will post. At the time of, this is in case of here is a temporary payable. This is not actual vendor, but in this case the actual vendor. So here also ledger I say. Here it will be the inventory and here is the liability. Here actual. Okay. So this is the vendor. When you say we have to define the inventory posting profile, so based on this inventory posting profile, system will post these entries 1 and 2, debit entry, and at the time of vendor posting profile, it will take which vendor it is, and it will post like this. This is what
Okay.
the system you use for the posting. So now when we create a vendor, what we'll do when we create a vendor, we provide vendor group. Vendor group is linked with the vendor posting profile. Concept is that when you create a vendor, you have to give this vendor group, and vendor group is linked with the posting profile. Whenever
Okay.
you do any PO transaction, system knows which vendor, you have to select that vendor. So when you select the vendor, system will know which groups it belongs to, and that system will know the which posting profile is linked to that group. The system will take care of that. We have to create the vendor posting profile where we will define, okay, this vendor group will post into this ledger, this group will post into this ledger. Okay. Similarly,
Yeah.
when we create the item, when we create the item, we provide the group, item group. Okay. And again, item group is linked with item group posting profile. How system understand that where to post? We are giving item into the purchase order. Item is linked with the group, and each group is linked with the posting profile. So whenever system posts this transaction, it will take care that okay, which group belongs to and which posting profile linked to that. This is a big concept actually, where we will actually see that there are a lot of other postings like when at the time of issue, at the time of receipt, at the time of receipt, at the time of transfer. So a lot of things are there, but this is the high level concept. Once you understand this high level concept, you can understand how system works.
Mm-hmm.
You understand how postings work. For
So, yeah, in this case, yeah. But then my question also was like, what is posting basically? And what is a posting profile?
posting is actually posting the cost into the ledger. Now, what is ledger, right? This may be your question. So ledger is nothing but the chart of account. All the see how finance maintain, how the finance record the transaction. How does finance record the transaction? We know little bit about that.
Mm, by
How
maintaining
the
debit, credit, and
so
balance
when you
sheet.
say debit credit, so where it will debit, where it will credit. So it will debit in one ledger. It will
Okay.
ledger is nothing but, for example, in chart of account, chart of account. I'm just taking one example.
Yeah.
This is the first ledger, 111 to 100, 200. This is maybe first ledger for. I'm just getting one hypothetical example. Vendor group raw material. This is the another vendor group. What I can say in this instead of this, I can say raw material. This is your another for semi-finished, and then third one is your finished. These are three ledgers I have created in my chart of account. What will happen if I link my raw material group to this ledger? Whenever you purchase a raw material, system will post into this ledger. System will know that okay, all the raw material costing will be available in this ledger. Okay,
Hmm.
okay.
Okay.
So in your chart of account, you have to create all these ledgers for raw material, semi-finished, finished goods, item in hand, then various types of item, for example, semi-finished item. Then these are all you can say items costing. Same thing you will have vendor, for example, like you will this may be a vendor also, raw material vendor, same finished vendor, not same finished, it will be items. So if I say these are the payable, this payable, then it is the vendor group. Okay, and in vendor groups now raw material supplier, and it will not be semi-finished. It will be suppose administrative. Then your maybe some service these vendors. Okay, so these are suppose payables. You have these number of payables. So you categorize these groups. Okay, raw material is one group, or you can say all material can be one group. All administrative item suppliers is one group. Service vendors are in different group. So
Mm-hmm.
you have created this chart of account in your. So what will happen? You will create these three groups. Whenever you create a vendor, you know that okay, this vendor is supply the material. This vendor is supply the administrative items. And this vendor knows supply the services only. So based on this category, you will define this group to that vendor and system will take care to post into this ledger. So when you post, it will record this transaction into this ledger only. So this ledger will be get hitted. So when you run the trial balance, you will know this cost of this into this ledger for raw material.
That means we have bought this quantity of raw material from this vendor group.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So when you create this item, suppose you are creating a receipt or you can say invoice. While invoicing, what will happen? Your inventory account will be debit and your vendor will be credit. So this vendor is belongs to, for example, raw material. So which account will be credited? This account will be credited. How? System know this is from the raw material group and that group is linked with this ledger.
Okay.
These are all linked each other.
Okay.
Okay. This way, same thing will happen for the asset. Asset means what? Your item or inventory. What will happen? Asset will also have some ledgers. Maybe 200, 100 is your asset ledger. You will create all these ledgers in your
Mm-hmm.
asset type of. These are all asset type of ledgers. So this is linked with your, for example, you have also various items. So what you call current asset and you will have the
Fixed
uh,
asset.
no, but here in this inventory is always a current asset, and
Okay.
in current asset also there could be raw material, there could be you can say inventory for your um, administrative. You can create a hospital. It will confuse otherwise. So if I say health and hospitality items. It depends on in your case we can say raw material you are maintaining one for example, but instead of raw material if you are maintaining separate group for desktop items, and in your case for example you are maintaining for laptop item,
Mm-hmm.
maintaining different for network
Servers. Okay.
servers. Okay, now when you have server items, there may be 100 or 1,000 items of server. All this, if it is belongs to this group, so system will post into this group. So how you create a group? So this is your group actually desktop item, this item, this item. These are all your groups. You understand how to create the group? It
Yeah.
depends on your organization, your company to company, and then your finance will tell, okay, my desktop items to be separately recorded into separate ledger. So they will provide you the ledger, and you have to link that ledger into the posting profile. Your finance consultant will actually do this activity. So
Okay.
so everything will be automatically happen. Postings will have happen automatically based on this item group posting profile and vendor group posting profile.
Hmm. But SCM people create the groups.
No, he will create the item, and you have to ask which groups belong
Okay.
to the finance guy. Finance guy will create the item groups. Now
Okay.
this is a combined activity. You have to tell I need reports for this item in such a way, and he will also tell okay I need a report for finance purpose in this way. You both should decide and design that how many groups you need. There could be possibility that you may have 20 groups, but you may have 5 ledgers only. It is not one-to-one combination. You may have same ledger for all these three also. If your
Okay.
finance people said that no, I will maintain only one ledger for all these activity or for all these items, it's fine for you. But you need this report in your inventory, so you create these groups and you attach one ledger for all. You understand?
Mm.
So these groups also needed to you to know that what is the inventory, inventory on hand inventory. If you want report, okay, how many desktop items are there? So you cannot identify if you don't have groups, correct?
Okay. Right.
Or you need to have then dimension separately
Mm.
for each location or something. But now if you have a group, you will have a financial cost also. So it is depends on how what type of the need. But your finance people say, no, I don't want this bifurcation and costing. You said, okay, you give me one ledger. You will attach one ledger only.
Okay.
So this is more on finance part, but I hope you understand the concept part.
Yeah.
Okay. It will be clear, more clear when you actually do the transaction and it will post.
Okay. So payables are also called as expenses.
Two things. Expenses is actually expend out. Payables is it's just recorded as payable but not yet paid. So
Okay.
for example, when you book the invoice, what will happen? You receive the item. So your inventory is up. So asset is up. Your asset is increased. Okay. But on the other hand, you have to pay to the vendor with the same cost. Your liability is increased. तो अल्टीमेट इफेक्ट क्या हुआ इसका कि यू हैव परचेस some item, so your asset is increased, but on the other hand you have to pay to the vendor, so it is payable. Till you are not paid, it is not expense out. Now
Okay.
at the time of payment, what will happen? You will pay to the vendor, so your liability will be reduced. Your liability will be reduced because you
Mm.
paid to that vendor, so there is no payable now. But on the other hand, your asset will decrease because you are paying from the bank. The bank is
Mm.
also asset. So asset will decrease and again it will be nullified.
Okay.
Okay. Expenses, for example, in case of administrative item. So administrative item we don't call as inventory. It is not an inventory item. So in that case, what will happen? Directly you will book the expenses and you book the expense account debit to vendor account credit. So simply your expenses will be directly debit when the item is not inventory item or
Okay.
service item, for example, which is
Why is
not
it not
inventory.
inventory item?
Inventory item is generally the definition or the understanding of that inventory item is when you actually want to maintain the inventory and it is called a current asset or it should be asset part of. So you have to decide which type of item is your asset or which type of item you it is not asset. So in your case, all these desktop item, keyboard items, all these will be your inventory. But in that case, if you are taking some security services, security services is not your inventory. It's a service which you
Mm.
cannot physically count how many security service. You understand? You cannot
Yeah.
physically count how much is your inventory for security service. It's a service. So he will pay give you the bill for every month. Okay, for this month there were 100 people were security and this much hours they work and it is the service charges for this. So directly it's expenses, and you will book the expenses of service, security expenses charges XYZ. Credit vendor is credited. Payment will be happened vendor debit bank credit. There is no asset part.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we call non-inventory item. This is called
So
expenses.
let's say in an office, what I understood from administrative items were also like, let's say we use office stationery, like,
Hmm.
some companies. So will that be an inventory item or not?
Depend. If a company want to maintain inventory for your stock, stationery, Xerox item, then they can create that inventory item. So it
Okay.
depends on company to company. What is the volume of the transactions? If it is very high, so system they maintain inventory for this item also. But it's a very less in volume, then many company don't maintain that inventory item.
Okay.
Depends on the volume of that
Then otherwise they will consider as a direct expense.
direct expense. Yes,
Okay. But that also gets recorded somewhere, right?
yes, that will be recorded.
Okay.
You have to create a non-stock item, and when it will be booked as a receipt and invoice, it will directly not instead of asset, it will be a expense account linked to this.
Okay.
When you create this posting profile for this, we will create this is the asset or item group posting profile. There will be some expense of an item will be. So for maybe for some this administrative items, we will have another group called administrative, and that group will link with the that item actually link with the expense account. Instead of this account, it will be expense account.
Okay.
Okay.
So instead of which account it will be linked to expense account?
This group
Okay.
administrative, this is the vendor actually. In here you may have for example another group or another group for item group, whatever. Maybe you have another group called 400100, that is for service item, this expense account. This or you can say service. What will happen? This group will be created and this is service item. So administrative, this is the service item. Instead of service item, now here this will be account. This is the expense type account. When you create this group, item group, you will link this expense account and it will be directly booked into the P&L. That is expense account. It will not link into the balance sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here.
sure.